Hello, Frady here. Hope you're having a good weekend and just wanted to jump on here. I know it's been a while since we've done any of the world building, and so I wanted to jump in, kind of go over what I've got going on a little bit. As you know, I just wrapped up the Frady's Friday Night Frights for this season. So we can focus back on world building, writing, character design, and so forth. One of the key things I want to address in this is that it's NANOWRIMO, which is National Novel Writing Month, for those of you who may not be a part of the writing or anything like that, and for other normal folk. But yeah, November is National Novel Writing Month, and I'm attempting to try to do not only my world building, but also work on another story that I have been going on for some time. Do I think that I'm going to get this done for NaNoWriMo? I'm not going to be a pessimist and say no, but I've got to be a realist and not really be able to say yes either. Will there be some great world building and outlining and possibly even a good deal of drafting done between now and the end of November? Oh yeah, very much so. That is something I love to do, and that's, you know, when it comes to what I do and what I love, that is something that quite possibly brings me more joy than anything other than getting to interact with people and bring joy and laughter to other people around me. But beyond that, which I hope I get to do that with the stories I write, and I hope that I get to bring some of that joy and letting you see behind the scenes and how some of this is being built, so that you're growing alongside the world that's being built, whether it's Balador, or the world of Aerith, or whether it's Alderrhūn, which we'll be looking at here in just a moment, or whether it's the novel I'm working on, or, you know, the fantasy Catawba Valley, or whatever, what have you. I mean, that being said, it has been a rough start to the November, just because I get my house back in order and into the writing and world building phase, and try to do what I can before the Christmas season comes in and start capitalizing on space again. But yeah, oh, by the way, if you hear the music in the background, that is Celestial Eon Project. It's wonderful music, especially for any kind of setting that you've got going on, from Halloween to Halloween whimsical to, in this case, more of a fireplace and a tavern type music. So a little atmospheric music for the mood and to set kind of the mindset of what we're working on and all this. When we flip over here to the continent of Zendora of Alderrhūn, it's not going to be a whole lot done tonight. This is going to be kind of jumping back in and bringing you back up to date, and to show you an introductory of what we've got going on and what we're going to be doing over the next few times you see this coming in, and explain what's going on behind the scenes. All right, give me just a second and I will see you at the table. All right, now as you can see here, this is the map of Alderrhūn, or to be more specific, the map of the continent of Zendora. Zendora would be more like, kind of like what you would expect to see from an alternate Europe if you want to look at general size comparison. So you're looking at basically what would be considered like about the size of the European peninsula. What we're going to be doing, as you see, what I have here on top of this is tracing paper. So no, we're not going to trace this entire map. That is not the plan at all. Rather, the map is here And this was printed off to be a study map and a test map for what I want to do with it and see how it's going to look before I take it back over to my mapping software on the computer. So what I'm going to be doing is if you look, I'm going to see if I can, oh, sorry, I kicked the tripod. All right, I'm going to flip it up here. If you see right there, you see the name Zandora. So what that's going to do is get in order. Okay, here we go. Okay, get back up a little bit. There we go. All right, so what we're going to do with that, and what makes that so important, is that what we're looking at is the naming scheme and getting the regions and everything, like the mountain ranges, the regions, the rivers, the seas, and all that. We're going to get that all named up and put into place. That way I can see how it's going to look, and once I get the general layout of that done, that's when I'll take it back over to the computer and get on my mapping software to where I can put it in a way that's very aesthetically pleasing, and be able to put this together to where I can create a full color map like this for the world of Alderrhūn and the storyline for which it is built. Like I've showed you before, Alderrhūn is the home of the Vale of Elembor. I don't know if you can see it on that poorly printed piece of, yeah, but here you go. But the Vale of Elembor, which, oops, didn't mean to hit that, but the Vale of Elembor is right in this location, somewhere in here. Because you see the river right here, so it's coming in out of the mountains, which is where that is. Now, that being said, the Vale of Elembor is only one small place, just like Thandor's Rift, which will be probably somewhere up in here possibly, or it could be over here. I haven't decided that yet, but that's the whole point of doing the layout, so that I can see where the names, where the kingdoms. Okay, that's another thing I want to bring up. All right, well, haha. That's another thing I want to bring up, is that unlike Balador, the world of Alderrhūn, as it is known as Alderrhūn, is not as old as the world of Aerith. So where the Aerith has roughly 17,000 years in its history from the time that it was formed, this one, you're looking at, with Alderrhūn, you're looking at roughly anywhere from 4,000 to 7,000 years, roughly more or less, which we will see. I actually think I've got something on that with history that I had covered one time before. Matter of fact, actually, I think I got it right here. It is, yeah, it's about a little over 7,000 years in it, since its creation or its recreation after the Primordial Wars. So, what's going to be going on with that is this is going to be done a little differently than what I'm doing with Aerith. You see, Aerith is going to have kingdoms that are basically stately, like what we would consider states, like North Carolina, Ohio, South Carolina, Virginia. It's going to be much larger kingdoms because they've had thousands of years to establish and be built. So if you look at Romania, for example, Romania is broken down into several provinces, which is Wallachia, Moldavia, Bukovina, Transylvania, and so forth. So, and using that as an example, Baldur is going to have great kingdoms that may have smaller provinces under one central king, whereas the world of Alderrhūn, you're going to have a lot more realms and regions that have kingdoms, in the sense that the kingdoms themselves will be more like the size of a county, or and so forth. So you would look at it, whereas Baldur, the kingdom of Baldur might be the size of what would be like pretty much the size of, say, Rhode Island, or maybe even Maryland or Virginia, or possibly even Ohio or something. Whereas for Alderrhūn, a kingdom might be, a single kingdom might be the size of like what Caldwell County, or just a normal county in a state, or a parish if you're in Louisiana, would be. So you're looking at something, a smaller region, but you're going to have a lot of outlying lands and realms. So while the central kingdom might be, or a kingdom proper might be within a certain area, there might be extended territory that leads out into neutral territory, which leads out into wilderness and open lands. If you've played Skyrim or any of the Elder Scrolls, or World of Warcraft, or any of those, then you may be familiar, or even if you've done any of this stuff with some of the AD&D worlds like Forgotten Realms or Greyhawk, then you might be more familiar with where you might have city-states, or you might have a duchy or a kingdom or a barony that might, then you have like an entire borderland outland area that's beyond the borders of the actual kingdom. They might look at it as territories, but anything beyond that area is open, wide territory. So that's going to make a huge difference. And Alderrhūn is going to have a lot of places like that, like Thandor's Rift, like the Glimmering Havens, or the Dales, or places such as that. So you may have a realm, but then you'll have the main kingdom somewhere in there, or several kingdoms in that realm, but each realm is its own territory. And then you're going to have wide open borderlands and stuff, which, we'll get into more of that as we progress. Right now there's a lot of work, research. I'm trying to get all my naming together for this, including my mountains, my mountains and my geography, to my rivers. I want to be able to get the kingdom names in. Excuse me. I want to be able to fill this in, as well as also be working on the history. I may have covered some of the history before, but the Primordial Wars destroyed the original world of Alderrhūn, and because of the situation concerning that and how it destroyed that world, the gods of Alderrhūn and the elemental Primordians come together under a truce, and because the gods of Alderrhūn felt bad for being misled, and yes, they did feel bad for being misled. They did not come to destroy. They wanted to come and coexist. They were misled, which led to the war. So because the king of the gods of Alderrhūn was beside himself for the atrocious act that he was led to commit under being misled, then he stepped forward and offered that he and the gods would help the elementals rebuild their world that was once an elemental paradise. And this Alderrhūn was born. Alderrhūn, actually had somebody comment on this, which is funny, and I love it because I am a Star Wars fan. But they said Alderrhūn, and I was like, no, not Alderrhūn. It's not, has nothing even anywhere close to that, except for maybe in some linguistic relation. But it's Alderrhūn, which also means elder rune, which is the elder rune is like a seal that holds the world together. And it's, well, it doesn't really hold the world together. How do I explain this? It's a seal where the world, on the world itself, where the gods of Alderrhūn and the elemental primordials, the elemental primordians made their pact and sealed the truth with that elder rune as a seal. And that seal is what basically, it's like a binding that keeps the order in place. And that's so Alderrhūn is named from that elder rune, which is that seal of the truce. And thus, you've got the new world of Alderrhūn that was born from that, and the continent of Zandora is where the elements of this story is faced. Will there be future installments of Zandora, Zandora, but will there be future additions to the world at large? Perhaps. We'll see where that goes. But to be honest with you, at this point, what I've got is a setting for a series that has a specific purpose, and that's exactly where it's leaning. I want to keep it that way. Time may change. Time changes all things. It may change that. So hey, we'll see what goes on with that. Anyway, let me get you back around to look at more of the map again. That way you can get a little more acquainted with it. Okay, I'm going to take you off of here. I'm going to let you take a look at it. Okay, now you're looking at it as if it was south to north, north being that way. So you're looking at it. And I'll show you what I mean so that you'll see the actual hand of it. Let's see if I can. But I've got a map right here nearby. I know I do. Hold on a minute. Oh no, maybe I don't. Okay, maybe I don't have the map on hand. Shame on me for saying I did. Anyway, now that my stack of stuff made me a liar. No, it just meant that I have a map, but it just wasn't right there, which is fine. That's not a big deal. I think I have shown you that map before. Matter of fact, I'll include it at the end of the video so that you can see it with the map of Villanbor. That shows what direction the actual world is pointing. But anyway, yeah, looking through, like I said, this is all tracing paper, so all the naming and stuff will be right there. And then when I move it, so if I move it and I mess it up, I can take up that tracing paper, put new in its place, and then be able to just continue picking up and moving forward. And then I don't have to go print an all new poster map just to get that taken care of, because let's just be honest, it gets expensive. If you've ever had to have anything printed like this, you would know that it's very, very pricey. It's affordable once or twice, but once you start trying to do it every time you mess something up, yeah, that becomes pricey. All right, there is the actual Zandora that I was trying to point out before. So you'll see that gives you an example of what I'm going to be doing here with the naming on this, because as you can see, it goes right underneath. So yeah. Anyway, all right. And now I'm gonna stick you back up here on the mount and see if I can find that map like I was talking about. That way we don't have to fight with it in a minute. And like I said, I may not actually even have the map on this one. I may have actually got it somewhere else. But I could have swore I had it here. It's not a worry. I've got the map to where I can just send it right over and have it attached. But the point is, it was just showing that the Vale of Alderrhūn has which way north is, as the actual valley runs more east to west, and kind of gives a good base orientation of where the general direction of north and all that is. Anyway, I think I have rambled on long enough. I'm gonna flip you back around. Anyway, now that I've gotten to kind of show you a little bit of what's going on, we will get back to regularly scheduled updates on what's going on with the mapping, and even get to where we can actually see what I'm doing as I'm doing it on the map. Speaking of which, I've only got a few more subscribers I need to where I can start also doing live streaming while doing this, in which I can talk to you firsthand and be able to answer some of the questions and things. And so, you know, if you know anybody that might be interested in what we've got going on here, if you like or enjoys fantasy or map making and world building, hey, throw them on, send them on over to subscribe, and then when the time comes, I'll be able to jump on here and let you know that I'm going live and pretty much talk with you in real time. Anyway, this is WR Frady. I appreciate you stopping in. Be glad to get back on doing my map making and getting everything together, and I'm extremely excited to have you on this journey with me as we journey into the future of Alderrhūn, Aerith, some of the other novels I'm working on, which I will also be doing some character design for that, so that'll be coming up as well. Anyway, thank you guys. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Talk to you again soon.